So the first thing that I ask candidates when they enter our course, so when you enroll for our ITC course, I always chat to each one individually, and I ask them, how do you feel about ITC? If you've done it in the past, how did it go? What are your concerns? And almost all of the students or candidates say that they have a lack of knowledge. They don't think they know their work enough. They've forgotten a lot of stuff from CTA, especially if they did it in the past. And I know I see the same thing in our CTA course when I welcome students there. They feel like they've forgotten a lot of the stuff from undergrad, and they need to revise a lot of it before they can get going in CTA, or in this case, the ITC exam. So lack of knowledge is one of the main perceived reasons why students think they fail the ITC, or they are going to do bad. And they think that is the first thing that they need to work on. And if you think about it, if you do CTA now, there's not a lot of time until you write your ITC to revise any theory. But remember, you are going to write CTA now. If you pass CTA now and are eligible to write ITC next year in January, you know enough. I mean, if you pass CTA, you know enough to get 50% in CTA, and that is enough to get the 50% in the ITC. It just is. But it might not feel like it. So the first thing is people think knowledge, and the next thing is time management. So many students or candidates don't finish their exam papers. In undergrad, or definitely in CTA, and in ITC, very few actually finish the papers. Okay, if you're just joining now, don't worry, you didn't miss much. We are going to post the recording later on. So welcome to this session. So candidates think they don't know enough theory. And let me tell you this, I've seen this from many, many years of experience, and we've got ITC markers that's part of our lecturing team. Very, very rarely do candidates fail the ITC, or very rarely is the main reason they fail ITC a lack of knowledge. Students generally know enough to score at least 60 to 70%. We have a little test that we have do in our course, where you do a question and we test how much of the marks that you lose are as a result of knowledge. I'm not going to go through the details of that test, but what I've seen over hundreds of tasks that I've marked with that specific test is that generally the average is between 60 and 70% of the marks for any given question. It doesn't matter what topic. The candidates indicate that they knew the work. And you can test this when you do a question. Go through the solution at the end, go through the mark plan, even if it's a CTA question, and just tick next to each mark that you possibly could have earned, whether you knew that, regardless of whether you said it. So even if you didn't think of it, if it's something that you feel like, oh yes, I remember this, or I know this, or I know why this is in the solution, then it's a basic mark that you already know. It's not something that more theory would have helped you with. And we see this so often. Candidates know 60% of the work, yet they score 30% for a question. And even in CTA, you get 30, 40%, but you know enough, if you look at the mark plan, to get 50%. So students are only converting 50% or 60% of the knowledge that they already have. And we need to figure out how to convert more of the knowledge that you already have. Remember, if you pass CTA now, even if you get a sub and you pass that, you know enough, you have enough knowledge to pass the ITC. And remember, you have your books with you, so if there's some theory that you need to look up, as long as you are able to use your book, that's a skill again. It's not we don't want you to memorize everything. That's what we're working towards. So what students usually do, and this is usually their strategy as well when I chat to them, is they feel like if they know more, so if they can increase their knowledge from 60% to 80% or more, then they will also score more marks. It makes sense, because if you know 60% of the work and you currently score 30%, that means that if you know 80% of the work, you should score 40%. So if you have that same conversion ratio, what we call it. The problem is, if you want to pass, then you need to know 100% of the work to get 50%. Or you're going to have to do something completely different in order to help you score those marks for the stuff that you already know. There's various reasons why students don't think of those basic things. Very, very often it is not reading the question carefully. I see that so often, misreading a small part of the question, even just a word like and or, usually an and. If you miss that, you could lose half of the marks for the question because there's two parts to that question. So there's so many different skills that if you know them and are aware of them and practice them until they become second nature, you will increase that conversion ratio of your basic marks significantly. And you can see the change quite quickly, but you have to work at it consistently and practice it. It's not something you can just quickly memorize or learn and then it's with you. You have to practice it. So we'll chat about that again a little bit later. So what candidates usually do is, I think ITC is the highest level, apart from APC now, it's the highest level to becoming a CA, and therefore they need to know the higher grade stuff. They need to know the difficult stuff, the tricky stuff. And when you look at, for instance, one of the questions in our course is a past ITC question on weighted average cost of capital, a super simple second year topic, but the way it was asked and the way the information was presented was so weird and more like it would be presented in real life, in a work environment, that students feel like that is why they failed. It's because there was tricky stuff in there, like the beta was not given. They had to calculate the weighted average beta for different companies in a group. Now, that is not the reason. That was 1 mark. That's not the reason why candidates fail. It's usually the basic stuff that they know they can't apply to this question. They have very bad exam technique. They start with calculations instead of what was asked. So wasting time on the higher grade stuff at the expense of the knowledge that you already have. Sorry, I'm looking down because I'm still letting people in. Welcome if you're only joining now. So theory is definitely not the reason why you'll fail. If you pass CTA, you know enough to pass the ITC. And the earlier that you write the ITC after CTA, the better. So to 70%, and we indicated they are writing ITC for the first time after CTA, you are definitely in a good position because your knowledge is fresh in your mind. But what we say tonight and what is in our course, at the end I'll promote our course a bit, but what is in our course will help you pass your CTA exams as well, because the same skills are tested in CTA. Remember, SAICA does not test your ability to memorize stuff. I mean, all these books, my laptop is propped up this high to get close to my camera on IFRS books. Here's another one. So you've got so much knowledge, you can't possibly memorize even half of it. So you need to be able to use this in real life. Remember, if you are a CA at an audit firm, even if the partners, they don't always know the answer when they go into to a client. Someone asks them a tax question, a tricky tax question. They don't always know the answer, but they do know where to go and find it. They do know how to present an argument, to come to a conclusion, and to give advice. So it's a lot of skills that you need as a CA, and that is what SAICA tests. They don't test your ability to memorize. So theory, yes, you need to know a lot of work, and you are going to know a lot of work when you write your final exams in CTA, but you need to be able to demonstrate that you can use the knowledge to solve problems. And they are going to give you real life type problems with big scenarios where you have to go and figure out what is it that they want from me. And the way you present the answer is as important as what the answer actually is. And that is generally where students lose a lot of marks. They don't build an argument or build an answer. They don't present it with the theory applied to the information before they come to a conclusion. So even if they know the answer, they'll just give the answer without building that answer. And remember, that is what SAICA is testing, your ability to solve problems using what you know.